What's up? This is BreakmanX, and welcome to the game show on February 12th, 2025. How's it going, Mr. Burton?
It's going great. It's snowing again here. I thought we were done with this.
I know, it's just, can't get rid of Jack Frost. He must be a relative, because you share the same first name. Anyway, Maul, how's it going?
I'm fine. I feel your pain. It is like 60 degrees here right now.
You know what?
In Nevada.
Maul, just go eat some In-N-Out burger or something. I don't know.
We're sponsored also tonight, Break. Did you know? By peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, great.
Put them in your mouth.
Melt in your mouth, not in your hands.
That sounds really good right now.
It does. It does sound pretty good. And Logan, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Doing great. Now I want some peanut M&Ms.
Now,
damn straight.
And now you keep making us hungry. First it was Cane's, and then it was this, and yeah, it's just gonna be a thing. And Darria, how are you doing this evening?
Miraculously made it in time. My camera decided to stop working, and so we fixed that super quick, and now I'm here.
It would not be an episode of the game show if something, if everything worked. So it's good that something didn't work, because then we're fine. And I think miraculously, people can hear everybody today. Whoa! Thank God. So nice. I eliminated...
It's a miracle.
I eliminated the offensive plugin, which I won't name, that was supposed to be just great. And I'm just doing it kind of a different, simpler way, and everything seems to be working. Let us know in the Discord. By the way, Discord, check out BreakmanX.com. You can join our Discord and talk to us. Also on YouTube, go ahead and make comments under here, or on the Twitch, or on Facebook. We love your feedback. Logan is going to be checking in with you and reading all your wonderful stuff. But the game show is a celebration of video games and our collective interest mixed with a healthy dose of humor, while bringing on our favorite people in the game and movie industries on as our guests. And it's been a fun few weeks here. We had a really fun show last week with Voltar. Had a lot of fun. He seemed to enjoy himself as well. Next week, February 19th, we've got Fenris Wolf Retro, who's going to join us and talk about some great modding stuff. And then on February 26th, we've got Corey from My Life in Gaming. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll have John Linneman here coming up soon too, once he's feeling a little bit better. But the best games ever. And again, this is an undisputable list, one that can never be challenged. There is ultimate authority on every single entry. Again, we used to call these the We're Wrong awards, but enough of that. Let's talk about arcade games, 2000 to present. Okay, so 2000 to present. Yeah. So a lot of really great arcade games here. And a lot of pretty awesome visuals here. I mean, I love the visuals before, but we really start getting some advanced arcade visuals here. And going through all these different games, there was a bunch that I could have picked, but I ended up having to go with Ikaruga. I just absolutely loved Ikaruga. I actually probably played it more at home than I did in the arcade, but I really, really loved Ikaruga. I just love spiritual sequel to Radiant Silvergun, which I gave on the Saturn, my favorite Saturn game, and Ikaruga being the spiritual sequel. Very, very different. It's a much, much different game, and I like Radiant Silvergun significantly better, but I do like Ikaruga quite a bit. That was a lot of qualifiers there, but it's a really good game. That just shows you how much I like Radiant Silvergun, I guess. But
it's an awesome game. Like Ikaruga is one of my favorite arcade games too. I mean, the Naomi hardware did so much. I mean, it's basically a Dreamcast in an arcade cabinet, right? I mean, it could do pretty much everything. And then you've got all of the gameplay of really great shmup, but you've also got the added flip mechanic, which really put things on its head in my perspective. That's a great choice, Break.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Indeed, I like people are probably only familiar with the GameCube version of that.
It's a great version of it. That was the one. I had the GameCube version. I still have the GameCube version of it, and I play it quite a bit. So GameCube version is definitely a wonderful way to play it. So yes, but Jack, we have a crisis.
Yes, a Time Crisis. Actually, two of them, if you
Yes,
will.
you went with it.
Now, my favorite arcade game from 2000 to present is Time Crisis 2. I don't know how many of you had arcades that were still going around the 2000s, but Time Crisis 2, you find that deluxe cabinet that has the big screens and has both players set up. Man, it is awesome. Like, it's one of those games where I'm pretty sure, depending on how much it costs just to buy in, I can beat it on 1, maybe 2 credits. And I will just sit there and just go to town. Like, that game is awesome. Namco really took what they started with the first Time Crisis, really honed it in with Time Crisis 2, and made a game that just sticks in my mind as one of my favorites of all time.
Oh yeah, that is a great choice. I've played that frequently in the arcade. And that if Richie was here, he would be down with that as well, because he was also a big fan of Time Crisis. So carrying on that as well. So awesome choice. Now I need to get some guns to shoot, fake guns, not real guns to shoot at a screen that do not shoot bullets. I'm not a violent person. Oh man, that's gonna be the
tell
clip.
you what, man. Since I built my arcade cabinet, that's like the one thing I've been trying to find. I've been trying. I know there's a few good PC gun replicas out there, like for something like a light gun game that uses some of the Wii technology. But I can't find them in stock ever, and I don't want to pay like $500 for them. I want to get them off the manufacturer. I can't think of the name of the manufacturer that built them, but that's one thing I don't have in my arcade machine at home that I really want to get.
The one thing I was bummed about losing my CRT was the gun stuff. But there is a replacement that's very expensive that I saw in some YouTube videos that I need to look into at some point. Logan, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, with the system you were talking about, Jack, is there any like issues with aligning the screen at all with the gun, or is it more just?
Well, like I said, as of right now, I don't have it, so I don't know. Like the best thing I'm doing right now is like if I want to play Revolution X or I want to play the original Time Crisis, I got to use my trackball, and that's pretty much how I move the cursor around, and that can get a little tricky.
That's not as fun. That's definitely not as fun. I have to say.
Oh, it's not. Yeah.
But Maul, let's try the same thing. We have a revolution on our hands.
That's right, a Revolution X. No, wait, sorry. That's that fit though.
Wrong light gun game.
No, my pick was Dance Dance Revolution, which I will say, caveat, I am not good at. How
dare you?
Part of my memory of this is going to arcades and attempting to play it, and getting laughed at by all the Japanese exchange students who were there, just watching the big clumsy American fumble around on the dance pad. But you know what? Still, it's fun. There was a point where, like, DDR was like the dominant game in the arcades, and there's so many different songs, but not every machine has the same songs or dance routines on it. So people would like build forums where they would be like, this machine is at the golf place by the chili dog place near Arrowhead Stadium. You got to go check that out because it's got this song list on it. And we would drive out there. We would find all kinds of obscure arcades and, just tucked away in weird spots and go out there to try out the new list and new songs and everything.
Oh yeah.
And also like the home version. Remember we built homemade dance pads out of like 2x4s and the plastic cheap mats that they would sell for the PlayStation and nail those all together and everything.
Sounds like an in my day thing.
Oh
yeah, I mean, well, because in my day we had arcades and that's what you do. Break. I don't know.
Break. Do you remember when we would try to go around just all the different places around Lawrence to try to find different ones?
Yep, it was hard.
Yeah,
it was hard to find. And then there was one eventually in the Kansas Union for like a year or two, and then it eventually left. But such a fun game. I remember, Q, who a former, host on the show, Roni Q, was really, really skilled at DDR. He could do like the like elbows on the pads and do all the spinny spins, and it was sort of like watching a maestro, like Fantasia.
Yeah, he was one of the ones I traveled with from time to time. He was very obsessed with it. So
yeah. And then I remember too, you facilitated my PlayStation in playing the Japanese versions because there were some songs on there I wanted to dance to. BreakmanX
have a few
also
packs,
loves.
you know? Yeah. You know, I will say this is definitely like a sad old man kind of moment too, because I don't know if any of you guys ever watched the YouTuber Jenny Nichols at all, who does a lot of like fun movie and book reviews and everything. She's very funny. Does a lot of like theme park related stuff. For a little while, she actually had like a licensed Lucasfilm show. They would like give her clips from upcoming movies and stuff like that, and have her or hook her up with guests, whatever. But anyway, she was doing a review of a mega church that has an annual passion play that they take movie elements from and make like a ridiculous huge like passion play kind of thing out of it. They stick in like Indiana Jones one year, and Indy is the one who gets crucified and whatever.
Wow.
Just bizarre stuff. And they make a big musical number. And one of the years was a Pirates of the Caribbean themed one. And they're playing the song Captain Jack from DDR at the beginning, but with all the lyrics changed to be about Jesus. And she did not recognize the song, thinking it was instead like a military march that had been adapted. And I was so mad, but I'm like, yeah, God, I don't remember that was 20 years ago. Like,
yeah,
it's not part of the zeitgeist anymore, right?
Yeah.
That is quite the mashup.
Yeah.
That's like Super Smash Brothers, but
yeah. I'll post the link to the vid sometime. It's pretty entertaining. The one that I think caught her attention that made her do it was they had an MCU one where Iron Man Jesus floated down from the sky, and
oh my
all
gosh.
that good
If
stuff.
this was the first iteration of the show, I would have very funny things to say. But instead, let's move on.
We will respectfully move on.
There are a few
I love
comments
the
I'd like to
mashup,
read out
though.
here.
It's very well done. I love the quality of the content. Fabulous. DDR.
Yeah.
Dance. Awesome. So Logan and Darria have abstained here. But Logan, do you have some stuff to read?
So Fenris Wolf Retro from YouTube says Sinden light guns are camera based and seem to work in most LCD circumstances.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you, Fenris.
Yeah,
recommendation.
that's the one.
You're going to save us
Yes.
next week, too. So he's going to be on the show next week, and this week he's just saving our butts.
Cool. And then Storm Eagle says best arcade game in the 2000s, Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Oh, that's a
really good one.
That was probably my runner-up. Yeah. And I'm getting that Dreamcast pad I posted on the forum the forums back in the olden days on the Discord, the 6-button Dreamcast controller, and apparently they're coming early. Originally it was supposed to be April, but Retro Fighter said that they're starting to come in now. So
Oh, nice.
I'll be playing some NVC2 on that on the Dreamcast for sure. All right, so
Very cool.
PC, WinXP, Mac OS 10. Basically from the previous thing that we said to present. And for me, this one, I can remember playing this game, and I remember Jack getting a very expensive graphics card when this game came out. And I was jealous that he did that because it made the game look great. I did not have that much of a graphics card. I did have a decent one though. But anyway, Half-Life 2 is my pick for computer game, PC, Mac, whatevs for this period. Half-Life 2 is one of those games you can play and get totally engrossed in and play for hours and hours and just, all night and just completely get lost in it. The physics were so much fun to check out. I remember that, was it E3? Was it E303? E303, I think.
Is it E303 where we were there? Yeah.
Where we were watching like all the videos of Half-Life 2 and all that kind of stuff. And I was so stoked for it. And then it finally came out, and it was amazing. It was, and unfortunately, I lost my first Steam account. I don't know where that came from, but that's also Valve. So I made a new one in 2009. But anyway, Half-Life 2 is awesome, and I'm the only one that picked it.
Well, if you'll allow me to rant off that a little bit,
Riff.
I had that as mine, but I wanted to give another game some more time. But
had to be special.
Yeah, Half-Life 2. We were there in E3 2003. We got to see that, or it was 2004. We got to see that demo, and
I found
honestly,
it the other day, by the way, the tape.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things was like one of the other reporters in the room is like, will this play on my 486? And just everybody laughed, and it was it was so perfect. But like just seeing the physics, seeing the gravity guns, seeing the vehicles for the first time, the AI in all of the combine, it was really a game changer. And I don't know if anybody's seen it, but Secret Tape did a 25th anniversary or 20th anniversary documentary on the making of Half-Life 2 recently, and it's amazing. It's about 2 hours long, but it's fantastic. They've got interviews with Gabe and half the development staff. It is. If you like Half-Life 2 at all, I highly recommend going to watch it because it's really cool and gives you kind of a really awesome making of.
The other thing I remember about that presentation, besides it being amazing, was that they had it on like an external hard drive, and I had this strong desire to grab the hard drive and run really fast, and it was just right there. And someone made a comment about it too, but alas,
Gabe would have sliced you up with one of his many knives.
I'd have been dead. Yeah, I would have been dead. Gravity gunned all over the place. But Maul, you also have a really great choice here. What'd you pick?
So man, what a long period of time this breakdown is. Like, we're talking decades, decades worth of runtime here. So since you put the modern era down, for me it had to be Baldur's Gate 3. I know it's like by far the newest game on the list and everything, but man, what an experience that game has been. Now, truth be told, I have been playing this on the PlayStation 5. But even with that, I just know that the PC version offers even more because of from day one, the extreme modding capability it's had. And that community's been tremendous there. But, I mean, like I already love D&D anyway, and it uses the mechanics of that and the world building, for Baldur's Gate. But like just in general, just as an RPG, like it's so expansive. There's so many different strange ways you can branch the storyline. We talk about with reverence like Chrono Trigger and its 19 endings or whatever, and this game has like 19 different ways every possible character interaction could branch out or go or lead to different I did just even in the first act, which a lot of people have played through the first act like over and over and over again, trying to explore all the different things you can pull out of the game. I just think like the interaction with the bard who's sitting on top of the hill, and you can like listen to her music, and she can become your friend. You can insult her music and just hurt her feelings. You can steal her loot from her and bash it on the ground and make her cry and make an enemy of her. You can just really steal her stuff, and it changes like how her friends and the people who know that character will interact with you for the rest of the game, let alone in other acts where she pops up again and will change whether or not you get certain items and whether or not certain story events will trigger based on how you help this person. And every interaction of the game does that for this just huge interweaving tapestry. Other developers have complained about how that game has ruined the playing field for so many of them who don't want to put that much effort into games going forward. And you can tell it took them 10 years to develop that game, and it was well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the promise of Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2 just in one game, but it took so long just to get there. And it's, if you like D&D, it's amazing. If you just like good storytelling, it's amazing. Larian did an awesome job with that game, and there's a good reason it won Game of the Year at the Game Awards last year and countless other awards too.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't appreciate those things, just like playing an action battler where you can run around with your dong out, it's still amazing. That's great too.
We didn't have an award for that, but I think that's coming up.
We'll make a new category.
Make a new category for next year for sure. So nice choice. So I wanted to say, a couple things. So this award, now that we're getting the modern era, it's much harder to delineate between PC and the consoles because we've got so much crossover. So I think it's okay to have crossover. The other thing I wanted to say, we've got a lot of folks listening on Apple Podcasts. Welcome. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. We do broadcast live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central. Check out BreakmanX.com for more info on that. The other thing I wanted to say, if you want to know the music that we're playing, because it doesn't appear visually, obviously, on the audio version, you watch the video back and go to that time. It does say every single background song that we're playing. That used to be something back in the day. People used to ask a lot, what song is that? The other thing is I do have a last.fm BreakmanX. I actually still had the login from the old one. Whoa. And it also is going through all the songs we're playing. So I want to make sure to give credit all to those great artists of the music that we're playing in the background, and also the folks out there if you want to listen. And hello, Apple Podcasts folks. The stats on that only update like once every 2 weeks. So now I know that there's people out there. But anyway, moving on to more interesting things. Logan, what is your choice?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say Subnautica is my favorite PC game. And I think the reason is because it's just so immersive. I'm also a big Minecraft player. But Subnautica really managed to take the survival and the sandbox elements of them and gave it an incredible twist by setting the game underwater and on an alien planet, no less. So they've managed to create this totally different world with even like unusual physics, because manipulating and building things underwater is just not very typical in games. And it's so cool what they were able to do with like the environment design, and even the story is pretty good. So yeah.
That's the first game we talked about when you and I first talked about games. I still need to give it a try.
It's fantastic.
That's a solid game for sure.
Great.
I don't play it because underwater things are scary, but
it is definitely very scary. That's another element I love about it.
Yeah, the same thing that kept me away from Echo the Dolphin also keeps me away from Subnautica.
hell, it was Mario 64 and like the giant lamprey creature in that. No, thank you.
Logan,
I'll play through it, but heart rate's up the whole time.
Do we have any chat?
Yeah.
Up with?
So Malachi says Half-Life 2 still holds up, which that's a game I should probably try at some point. I haven't actually played it yet. And then Storm Eagle says best PC game, Unreal Tournament. It's fast-paced FPS, great maps, countless hours of fun and yelling, especially if one of your buddies puts that game on all of the high school computers and on the network.
Not in this time period. Not in this time period, but yes, definitely.
Yeah, we would have accepted Unreal Tournament 2 or 3.
Or 2004, you know.
2004. Mm-hmm.
Any of them.
It's a better use for the high school computer lab than my group ever came up with.
And you know, Malachi has encouraged me that I should have stolen the Half-Life 2. That would be nice, but also probably wouldn't be here. Either dead or started my life of crime. But thanks for encouraging me to do bad things.
They went after the hacker that leaked everything when they were making Half-Life 2.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, hardcore.
When that leaked, I was like, you had it available for all to steal. But, on the floor. But anyway, it's a great game. So moving on to the Darria's abstaining from this one again. I'm never skipping her again. So just going to point that out. Moving on to the DS. The DS was a great system. I much prefer sitting on a couch and playing on a TV to portable games. But I still do enjoy portable games. The DS was a really great system. Again, at E3 2004, I remember seeing Reggie come out and we unveil the DS to us all that year. That was pretty cool. I actually dug out my new DS XL or whatever it was, that last version, not the 3DS, but the regular DS last night. That's a really nice system. The screen's really nice. It was really fun to look over that again and play some games. Really close to picking Contra on this one. I love WayForward's Contra, and I've been playing Operation Galuga thanks to Jack's recommendation, and I agree it's good. So everyone that told me it wasn't good, you're wrong. I know it's Western and all that, but it's a lot of fun. But anyway, what game did I pick on the DS? I have to go with Mario Kart DS. And the reason I'm going with Mario Kart DS is I think it's a really great portable version of a 3D Mario Kart, especially kind of being that first 3D version. And it's also a game I played so much with the link capability where you do the multiplayer stuff. That was actually, I remember I was Dr. No or Weezer Jedi or whichever name he was going by at that point in time. Had it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you can play blah blah," and we did the multiplayer, and it was a lot of fun. So I have to go with that, even though there's so many games I could go with, including the one that Jack's gonna go with.
Yeah, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. We're back to the Castlevania well. Dawn of Sorrow is a sequel to like a direct sequel to Aria of Sorrow, which was the last game they put out on the Game Boy Advance. Dawn of Sorrow, same characters, awesome music, a really great Metroidvania for those that love that style. It's got a cool little storyline. Gameplay is tight. It's fantastic. You get to do some fun little stuff with the stylus when you beat bosses. You get to, draw a little pentagram or something like that on the screen to like banish the boss. And so it's a really fun game. And it's one of the launch titles for the game, if I remember correctly. And it goes back to that same thing. One of the launch games is probably the best game on the system until you get to the end.
Yeah, it didn't need a nub like Mario 64 DS. That nub I was never a fan of the nub. The DS Castlevania collection that's on everything now is really, really good. If I remember right, please don't crucify me like Indiana Jones we talked about a minute ago. If I'm wrong about this, but I believe that it was done by M2. I think.
Yes,
and M2 is awesome.
Was done by M2.
Yeah, and M2 was awesome. So, and it also has the haunted castle kind of revamp thing in there. But if you haven't played this or any of the DS ones, the collection, sometimes they're hit or miss, but this collection is really, really great. So check it out. And Maul, you've got a choice here that is very interesting, and it started here on the DS.
You think so? Interesting. Yeah, it did. It was well, for me, the one that stands out the most. We talk about the DS, and it's difficult because it's like almost 10 years of official support, pumping out games for that thing. But Phoenix Wright always remains for me the one that stands out on that system. I love the puzzler nature of it. I like the the crime case kind of nature of it, the courtroom drama. I like how the longer it goes, the more ridiculous the characters get. And they started pretty ridiculous as it was anyway. When your main adversary is wearing like the classic like European like romance era frills and everything. But I don't know. I still find myself yelling objection and pointing at people very angrily from time to time. So it left an impression.
I can see that. Well, okay, I'm gonna give it another chance then, since you picked it, because you seem.
Are you not a fan?
I just never got into it before when I tried it, and I need to give it more of a chance. I just need to give it more of a chance, I think. Because if you like it, I tend to like
a bit.
I tend to like the games that you and Jack both like. So. Yeah,
I think it's a successor to the old like point and click adventures.
Oh,
a bit, It really reminds me in some ways of like the X-Files PC game that I had, where it's like you go into different areas.
Oh my gosh, that's
and you gotta like click on different items, and sometimes Mulder will be like, that's nothing, and sometimes Scully will be like, yes, take that, and you'll collect an inventory and then go to a room and examine it, and so you take it to the courtroom in here and start showing up like pieces of evidence. If you don't know them in the right order, you're gonna lose your case. I don't know, it just reminded me a lot of that kind of thing, and I always enjoyed playing those back in the day. Seems to be our running theme. So that was very fun.
Awesome. And Logan, again, jealous that you like these games. I've always wanted to, but what's your pick?
Yeah, Pokemon Platinum. This is a game that I've never actually played, but always wanted to. And seeing it. No, look, I've never owned a DS. I wanted to.
That's okay. I'm glad that you picked one.
Yeah, because I have a little bit I can talk about with this.
Okay.
Again, it's not quite as good as Gen 3, but I also love the designs of the Pokemon in Gen 4. And specifically with Platinum, I love the gimmick of like it's like Giratina's dimension. I forget exactly what it's called, like the distorted world or whatever. But they managed to like have all these floating platforms and stuff, and for your character to walk around in, and it is like a 2.5D game. So it had that, 3D element, which Pokemon games didn't have before, and with the floating islands and stuff in that realm, the gameplay looks fantastic. Lots of, Easter eggs and stuff with Arceus, that's a whole process to go through. One of the more Easter eggy kind of legendaries to go get. So I don't know. It's just a game I really want to play sometime. I've just never had a DS. So.
Yeah, you should. This was the one that Q kept trying to get me to play like over and over again. He's like, "You gotta play it," and I think I did for like 2 minutes. I just could never get into Pokemon. It's it's just a thing about me. But Darria, you do have something down in this category.
I do. So I did have a DS, but I didn't have very many games for it. So a lot of they were very, I can't even remember the games that I had for it. But the thing that I do remember about the DS is my sister and I used that chat function so much.
PictoChat.
PictoChat, yeah.
Yeah.
It came up when I opened the my DS last night, and I was like, "Oh, that was amazing." At E3, you would not have wanted to do PictoChat. I'm just the messages that came through that thing at E3. You would have thought it wasn't a bunch of professional journalists there. We'll just leave it there. Logan, you want to catch us up on the chat here, not the PictoChat.
So, Fenris says, the DS holds a lot of memories for me during my middle school and high school years. One of my favorite games on it, aside from Pokemon, was Lunar Nights. Okay.
Lunar Nights. I played that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
And then Storm Eagle says, Nintendo's DS best game is Chrono Trigger. It's the best version of the game and adds a new ending that ties in Chrono Cross and new boss fights. This is the superior version to play on. Well, that's cool.
Played that one on a flight. Long flight. Overseas.
Wow. And then Fenris says, Distortion World. Yes, that's the right name for it. Thank you. And Gen 4 was the most boring, in my opinion. Okay. I'm kind of a big lore guy, so I like the lore of the legendaries in that one, but
so
I mean, I can't really judge the gameplay.
Fist fight. On the show. Right here, these two. Wait, this way. Coming up next week on the game show, a battle to the death.
Okay. It's gonna be here. We'll see. And then Storm Eagle says Gen 4 Pokemon was top tier. Okay, now that there's
man,
conflict. There's conflict. I'm with you.
It's nice to see the diversity of opinions. It is. I like it.
And then Fenris says Heart Gold and Soul Silver were the best games to come from Gen 4 Pokemon, but Diamond and Pearl was very boring to me. Heart Gold and Soul Silver look pretty cool to me too. I just love that like 2.5D aesthetic.
It's a cool aesthetic. It's a cool aesthetic for sure. All right, so moving on to the PlayStation Portable. There's a pretty funny South Park episode about the launch of this one that I actually watched last night. Not really because of this, but just it was on my random as I went randomly through them. But the PSP, I remember seeing this at E3 and everyone said it was going to destroy the DS and the DS was going to drown and die and everything. And that did not happen.
They did say that, didn't they?
They did say that. They did say it. But the PSP did not do that, but it was a really awesome system. I think the PSP is one of the cooler designed systems of all time. Vita after that too, but the PSP was such a cool design system. The screen was great and had some really awesome games on it. Yeah, and so anyway, going through, there's so many games here that I could pick, and there's a lot of JRPGs that I probably should pick, but I have not given anything to Mega Man yet, and Mega Man is one of my absolute favorite series of all time. The opening theme and the closing theme of the show come from Mega Man 2, which is one of my top games ever, and that also hasn't appeared, which kills me, but at least Maul mentioned it. But Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, which is a remake of Mega Man X, I actually like the original better, but it still was a really fun to see a remake of Mega Man X. And Capcom, where are my new Mega? I mean, we had Mega Man, we had Mega Man OG, which is great, and I love new games in the OG series. Mega Man 9, 10, 11 were great, but I want a new X game. I want a new Mega Man X game, and I think a lot of other people do.
Capcom, where's everything?
Where is every franchise that we love? And they did a poll, and people voted for Mega Man X, and then they're like, "Nah, just kidding, whatevs." But hopefully we get some Mega Man X action. But anyway, this is a really fun game for the PSP. If you haven't tried out the remake, while I don't think it's superior to the original, I do think it's a fun time and one of the many great PSP games you should play. I used to joke. Well, no, that was the Vita. Never mind. Jack, go ahead. You have a really good choice here too. I remember playing this one at E3.
Yeah, Patapon. So I don't know how many people have seen Patapon. Patapon 3's coming out soon, but
Great name to say.
for anybody that's a rhythm gamer, Patapon is awesome. It's essentially just a little fun game where you've got like this little army of little, I don't know what, just an army of nondescript villagers. Like they all have different shapes, but they all have different beats tied to them. So like, you know, if you want some to move forward or you want some to attack, you have to do a button combination that's like patapon to get them to actually move forward and to actually fight. And it's a really clever game. It's a really cool game that kind of ups the difficulty as you go, just like anything else. But it's very stylish. It's very fun. And it's a really cool, simple little game you could pick up and play for just a few minutes and then put down. But that's probably my favorite, with a very, very close second place going to Luminous.
Luminous. I played that game so much. Patapon is such a great name. Patapon. I love that name. Maul, your choice here. This was another game that I liked. This is a good list.
Yeah. So I didn't really play like a lot of the PSP library. Oh, shout out, Break. You didn't realize, I might have mentioned this to you. Last time I was out at the used game store not too far from your place, they have a copy of the video disc of Dragon Ball Evolutions on PSP near your place. So I think that deserves to be picked up.
Is that the one by Spangles?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to
So
head
you
over
two
there.
could own one of the worst movies of all time on a very tiny handheld system.
On PSP.
Yeah, but I thought the novelty was great.
Yeah.
But no, anyway, this guy has a great little JRPG. It's got really funny characters, fun animations, a cool story, which at the time was pretty unique. You're the Prince of Hell, trying to level up and earn your way to become the king, and you're getting a lot of those strange misadventures in the way. I don't know that it offers like a lot of things that are new to the JRPG realm, but at the time we were starting to see them like really begin to dwindle. This is kind of like the beginning of the fading out period for traditional JRPGs, so it really was kind of felt refreshing at the time to have that come up, and was really cool. Yeah, for me, I think though the PSP, the best thing that ever came out of it was not really the games, but working in the used game store and having people trade it into me and having not erased their memory cards and just seeing what kind of terrible porn people had loaded onto them. That'll be the best memory I always have.
That doesn't sound like a good memory. It sounds like
a good laugh,
That sounds like
fine.
an awful memory. And like, really, you're gonna trade anyway. PSP owners.
It became a thing. I had to check. I didn't want to sell that to a kid accidentally. Like
Yeah,
the first one that came in had some stuff on it. So
Yikes. Oh, Sony, how your device was used for other things. But yeah, Logan's going to abstain from this category, but Darria does have a note.
I do. This was also another console that my sister and I really, really wanted. She wanted it for a very specific reason, because Jack and Daxter, like that whole like series, there was a game specifically called Daxter that came out on the PSP, and she really wanted it to play that game. We never got one, but that was something that I remember, like even just having like I wanted one because it was portable, for lots of different reasons. But that's probably the biggest thing that I have when thinking about the PlayStation Portable is she wanted to play Daxter.
Desire. For the PlayStation Portable.
She actually named her cat Daxter after the game.
That's cool. Logan, anything cool come from the chat?
Yes. So Fenris says the PSP hacking scene was a ton of fun to watch. A constant battle between Sony and hackers.
Oh, that was interesting.
And the PSP was actually how I got into Persona games. Started with Persona 3 Portable and enjoyed it. Nice. I don't know much about Persona, but it's another one
Oh,
that I've
you
been
need to
wanting
play
to try.
it. It's a great
You
series.
should- Persona 3 or 4. Oh, so good.
Some of the best. You will love
Cool.
it. Dive in.
All right. I will make sure to pick that up. And then Storm Eagle says, the best PSP Final Fantasy Tactics, The War of the Lions.
So good. You can patch the PlayStation version now to get that script and some of the enhancements, by the way, which is how I
That's
beat
cool.
it most recently.
That's awesome.
And then you don't get the slowdown because on the PSP version, whenever you cast a spell, your guy's just like thunder.
And
Oh,
then
man.
Fenris says, but what I would say is my favorite PSP games would be the Dissidia games.
Oh, those are good.
Fighting games plus Final Fantasy blew my mind as a teenager, and it did not disappoint.
We played Guys. Guys is good too. Not on the PSP
Yeah.
though. Well, I wouldn't say good, but I like it.
That's good. That's good enough.
It's
Okay.
fine.
I've heard people are like, I loved it. I was like, I get to play as Cloud and Sephiroth. This is great.
And Dean Kruger says Daxter is his pick.
Oh, hey, Dean. Welcome. He's I know him. I don't know if we're supposed to talk about jobs, but I know him. I know him. But yeah, thank you for listening. I appreciate it very much. Or watching. But cool. All right, so let's move on to the Microsoft Xbox 360. So the Xbox 360 had some good games, but it also broke a lot. I remember reading an article. I think it was about 1/3 of the consoles actually ended up having the defect that broke it. And I actually read another place that it might be closer to half that actually had a defect that they're aware of when they sold the console. There's a whole lot of shows of me doing this, of going on and on about this, because I had to have 3 of them. Walls remembering. I had to have 3 of them replaced. I had to have 3 of them.
I remember yours had water damage in it, you schemer.
That was not me. That was not me. I don't know how that happened.
Remember that's why they told you they wouldn't replace them anymore. They
Is it
told you
me?
there was water in it, and you were like, "Those lying sons of bitches."
Yeah, because I never put water on it. I never put water on it ever, or got close to water. And Microsoft was like, "I am so sorry, but it has water, and we will not." They're not French. I don't know why I'm doing that, but we will not replace it. And I talked to this lady named Trixie on the phone for like 2 hours. I actually have the recording of that because I played it on the show. But anyway, they eventually did. They eventually did replace it. And I did get 3 of them. And it also was very loud. However, the 360 was a really great system. It had a lot of
great catalog. Can't
great
deny it.
games.
Never bought it because of I saw your problems with it and was like, nope.
Yeah, no, the hardware obviously was very, very flawed, unfortunately, but some really, really great games. And the one that I'm picking is a really awesome game. Lost Odyssey is fantastic. It is worth, and actually that was the game I was playing when the water damage happened, which made me so angry.
No.
The water damage, Microsoft. Someone cast water on it or something. But Lost Odyssey is such a fabulous game. It's basically a Final Fantasy game, as Jack mentioned in one of the previous shows. Hironobu Sakaguchi and Nobuo Uematsu with Mistwalker making games. In the Gamers show that we had long ago, we did a riff on that of Mistwalker coming to Xbox. But an absolute fabulous game, worth all of the trouble and more that I went through actually getting to play it. Yeah, that generation was an interesting generation between the 360 and the PS3 hardware-wise. But yeah, the 360, had it not broken, lots would, I think, be far and away the hardware choice of the generation. But unfortunate. And Jack, what's your choice?
My choice for the Xbox 360, like you mentioned, it's got a huge catalog, a great catalog, and I really struggled to pick just one. But because we'll get to it here in a minute, but because of Maul's choice, I went with Beatles Rock Band. As you can see, I'm a huge Rock Band fan. I've got all my instruments. I've got the drum kit, like the pro drum kit. I love playing Rock Band. Even now, I'll play Rock Band 4 every now and then with my kids or with some friends online. It's such a fun game. And Beatles Rock Band, I'm a big Beatles fan, and so when that came out, you bet I bought that the first day. They introduced harmonies with that one, and just everybody knows, well, not everybody, but a lot of people know the Beatles, and so it's really easy to get people to get in and play songs that they know, and it's just an awesome, real tribute to the Beatles, and it's a fantastic game.
It's an extraordinarily well done game. It's absolutely fabulous. So I'm glad that you picked it. And Maul, what's your completely original pick?
Well, okay, so two things. First off, a shout out to the Batman Arkham series, which was absolutely fantastic on this system.
Oh, yeah.
And love them a lot. But as far as what I played the most of, I actually typed Rock Band as well, which is why Jack changed his answer to a specific title. But I realize now I meant to type in Guitar Hero. So,
ouch.
Which doesn't have as many instruments, but like Guitar Hero 3, I played a lot. That might not even be the best one of the series, but I played the hell out of that game, and I have a lot of fond memories of straining my digits. Trying to get those patterns down and everything. And I'm so just stunned that those games have died out so much these days. Like, there was a point, and it's when I see a couple guitars behind you there, Jack, right? Those, which they're coming back around again now, where people are looking for them. But there was a point where they were like, no more new songs. We're tired of paying for the licenses. We're tired of supporting these things. And there was a GameStop that was next to the comic shop I was working at out here for a while. And people were coming in and not being able to sell in their guitars and the other the instruments and stuff. They were coming into me and being like, would you guys want these? And I bought a set of the guitars for $1 a piece off of some desperate kids. And eventually just gave them away to some other gamers that I knew that were interested. But there's a point where they were absolutely worthless and just an albatross around the neck of everyone who had them. But now, you hold on to it for a while. There's some modded versions out there. You can download some songs and people are looking for them again. And it's just the hardest thing to find in a lot of shops. So
there's lots of photos of us playing that.
Yes.
Yeah, and they've got the new PDP guitars that are out that work for. They designed them for Fortnite, but they work just fine for Rock Band 4 if you're interested in that at all. It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
what a strange crossover for that to be made for Fortnite. All right.
Well, Fortnite introduced a Rock Band mode.
I know.
Yeah, Fortnite Festival. Yeah, the developers of Rock Band Harmonix got bought by Epic a few years ago, and so they bought them specifically to bring them. Well, not specifically to bring them into Fortnite, but it's great. Yeah, the problem is
the words back in my mouth then.
Yeah, personally for me, the problem is I spent a lot more money than I ever meant to spend on downloaded songs on Rock Band 4, so I'm probably sticking there. I'm not going over to Fortnite Festival just to do that.
No, for sure. Yeah, I do miss that era though. Just everyone being into the music-based games, getting there with friends to play either 2 players in Guitar Hero or the 4 of us playing in Rock Band. And it's also how many people were getting into classic rock songs and stuff from discovering them in the games. And I hope something like that comes back up again, because we can't just rely on Marvel movies to keep bringing back classic rock.
we have a bunch of photos from now. New Year's 2007 of us rocking out all night.
My sister and I would play Guitar Hero all the time. We had the Aerosmith one.
Nice.
There was a couple other ones that we had, but I still have the guitars are they're in a box under in their original boxes, sitting right over there underneath the TV entertainment stand.
They're waiting for you. Play them.
Wow.
We have to get a button fixed on my PS2, so that's why I can't play it right now. But once we do get that fixed,
let's get a hold of Voltar. He can do it for you.
I've only ever actually played Rock Band once. It was fun though, because I have a friend who goes by the nickname Fred that like went to a thrift store and found a whole set of instruments for this really good value.
That's awesome.
And brought them to like a gathering that a bunch of my friends and I had in Kansas City, and it was on Wii, so it was incredibly laggy. But
yeah.
it was fun because we had a whole band going.
Yeah, no. If you could ever get enough people to put a full band together, like it is one of my favorite couch co-op experiences I've ever had.
It's amazing. It is a lot of fun, and you don't have to be like amazing at games to play it. So it's a nice way to get lots of people together. Logan, you have a really solid choice here. One of my favorite games of all time, and one of the first games to be studied academically.
Right, yeah. Portal is my choice for the Xbox, and really I played a ton more on the PC. But there's a lot of things that I love about Portal. Everything like puzzling, puzzle games are one of my favorite types of games. I really just dig into that sort of thing. And it's like a puzzle game with a really cool like physics breaking gimmick, the portals. I love how you're able to, push things through it and jump through it and do some interesting like moves with the portals, and it really forces you to think outside the box with how to manipulate levels. But also I love just the development history of it as well, because it started as a student project at a school that I actually thought about applying to up in Seattle called DigiPen. It was like a 3 or 4 person team. And they had developed a game that they had called Narbacular Drop, so that it would search well in Google because it was an original name. And Valve found it and decided that it was a cool enough concept, so they hired the students and they created Portal. So I just love that history. And then Portal 2 is great too, because they really expanded on the world and did a lot of creative gimmicks, like expanded the physics elements with like, the gel kind of stuff. And of course I love GLaDOS and like the characters that came out of that series. So
appreciate you elaborating on the history of that. It's a really cool story. It's also Western Civ classes started assigning Portal to students. It was considered which is really cool. I remember that was actually quite a while ago that they did that, so maybe there's a different game now. But in the music of that, I mean, this was a triumph. Like that song, I have.
Oh yeah, I remember us driving around and playing that before E3.
Yeah,
the year that came out. Just to hype us up.
Yeah, that's such a great song. There's lots of great songs in that one. Love the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because the rest are dead. But anyway, Darria.
So I have 2 mentions here. One, because like I primarily played it with my sister. So that was like the only time that I played it, and it was War in the North, Lord of the Rings game. And so it's like this kind of story that following an elf, a man, and a dwarf. You can play as those characters. And she would always play the elf. I would always play the man. Because she wanted all the elven design stuff. But it kind of took place during like the events of the Lord of the Rings, just in a different portion of the map in the world. So that one I enjoyed really playing with her. But the one that I played on my own that I really loved and would love to play again is The Force Unleashed. That was like if I first played that on Xbox. Sorry, my cat is moving the table. First played that on Xbox 360 whenever my sister would let me use it because it was a gift to her. So I had to ask for her permission every time to play it. But I loved the abilities that you could like unlock and do in that game, and I liked like experiencing the story of it.
Really unleashed the Force.
If you're looking to play that again, I don't know if it's still on sale on the Switch Nintendo store. They just had like a Force bundle with like that and KOTOR and Pod Racer and like Jedi Knights 1 and 2, and it was like $17 for all of them.
You would love the JK games.
I will have to look into that.
So Force Unleashed, I remember I went to this Lucasfilm / LucasArts recruiting event thing, and they were talking about the story behind the Force Unleashed, and they were talking about how when they pitched it to George Lucas, it was originally starring Darth Maul. And George Lucas went on about how like story was so important and like the main character needed to be able to tell a story and all this stuff. And then they pitched it, and he's like, "So I say all this stuff about story, and you give me a silent protagonist." Darth Maul like never talks.
Yeah.
So then they like readjusted it to what it became. But I would love a Darth Maul game. I don't care if he talks. I would slice everyone up with that double blade.
You can't have a story with a silent protagonist. It's just like you try to. It's got to have a lot of noise. You got to be able to talk to the audience.
Man,
Thank you, Maul. All right. So let's move on.
He like Darth Maul. Like all they had to do was just give him a voice actor. Good Lord, of the Clone Wars. He's talking all the time.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But this was
Darth Maul's arc in the Clone Wars is so good.
It's
yeah,
great.
it is really good. It is really good. Yeah, this was before all that, but yes, for sure. Logan, you want to catch us up with the chat?
Yeah. So Dean Kruger winks at you. Storm Eagle says, "I'm lucky that my 360 never died on me and still works to this day. I do remember Trixie." Did you name your 360 Trixie?
No, Trixie was the woman I talked to for 2 hours that would not let me send back my 360 because she believed it to be water damage.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I feel bad because it wasn't her fault, but anyway. I was nice. I wasn't mean. I was not mean.
Cool. Fenris says, "My history with Xbox 360 is interesting. I actually got mine for Christmas, and I specifically wanted to play Fable 2, a game not for young 13 to 14-year-old me, but I enjoyed it." And then he says, "My favorite 360 game of all time, though, would be Splatterhouse. It's a gritty reboot of a love letter to horror movies, and I enjoyed every second of it. I really should have done better. It really should have done better than it did."
Interesting. I haven't played the remake. I love the PC Engine one for graphics. Maybe I should try that out.
And then Storm Eagle says, "Best 360 game for me is Ultra Street Fighter 4. Yes, it was on multiple platforms, but it ran best on the 360 and was the game that got me into competitive games, and I love the look, music, and control."
So for my directing class, I did a Penny Arcade comic, like come to life, and in it, Tycho and Gabe cast it out. We're playing Street Fighter, and it was fun. But I wanted to mention that if you're really liking what you're seeing, the best way to support us is if you click like and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. But moving on to the Nintendo Wii, which came out in 2006, which seems like yesterday, but was really like a million years ago. But really great system. Looking back on it, had some really awesome games, even though the technology, of course, wasn't there, as compared to the others. And I did not like the waggle. Like the games that I like are in spite of the waggle, for the most part. Like the waggle game, I would say that I would put up there would be Sin and Punishment 2. But it's not really even waggle, but it's the pointing at the screen. Because that was kind of interesting. But I going with my favorite Wii game really has to be Super Mario Galaxy. I liked Punch Out a lot too, but Super Mario Galaxy was just awesome. I mean, it was such a great 3D Mario game, and the way that the physics interacted with the planets and everything. Really great level design. I remember playing that game and having to go to class and like being really frustrated that I had to stop playing it and leaving it on and coming back and playing it because the levels were longer than I thought that they would be, and but just a lot of fun. The music was also really great. They finally did some orchestrations of all that stuff, and it sounded really awesome. I would prefer to I got the 3D All Stars on the Switch, and I prefer playing it on the Pro Controller to the Wiimote. But it in spite of that, I think it's a really great game, and they did. If you do play the All Stars version, they did a really nice job of bringing it there. It runs in a smooth 60, and nice. I believe the code is emulated, but the graphics are taken directly from the Wii and are not emulated. I might have that backwards, but anyway, at any rate, it's really, really, really nicely done. So.
Yeah, awesome. I'll jump in here real quick because I do want to say this. Mine was also Super Mario Galaxy. So just
nice
reiterate,
choice.
yeah, right. No, I really like physics puzzles, level design, amazing. And I don't know, it was just like so much fun. And like, I'm not a guy who normally tries to go trophy hunting. I'm not a FOMO guy. I don't care if I get all the trophy. I remember watching my roommate one time with like Resident Evil 5 got a trophy. He's trying to 100% the game and got one in Resident Evil for just like walking into an electric power box like 10 times. And I was like, what's the point of these? Like, that's not like a skill thing. It's not anything. It's just you did something stupid. Congrats. Here you go. So anyway, trophies, not my bag, but I did 100% Mario Galaxy with every
That's awesome.
star, unlocked Luigi, and then went through the whole game again with Luigi. It's so much fun. It just keeps drawing you back in. And as you recall, we were doing like a comic strip at the time of the webpage, and I got so much material out of just bizarre Super Mario Galaxy stuff too.
Yep. Maul's comics. I think some of those are still on the forums, by the way. BreakmanX.com.
Oh yeah,
I think.
nice. I'll play
Unless
a
that's the
couple.
staff
I
forums.
still have the original art because we were so low tech at the time. I just drew them in my book, and then we just scanned them. Or took like a digital photo.
That was so much fun, though. I love those
at
comics.
the time. Yeah,
fun.
but that's just a great addition to the Mario world. I really liked that one a lot. So
For sure. All right, Jack.
Yeah.
What's your pick?
So my favorite, once again, we're sticking with the rhythm games. Rhythm Heaven Fever. Think of WarioWare mixed up with a rhythm game, like Parappa the Rapper, and you get Rhythm Heaven Fever. Like there's all kinds of zany little mini games. You got wrestlers. You've got you got singing kids that are just in like a play. Like there are so many cool. Like, there's golfers. Like there's so many really cool little mini games that are all based around just rhythm mini games, and they're all clever. They're all awesome to look at. It's a very cool visual style. If you like WarioWare games and you haven't played any of the Rhythm Heaven games, I highly recommend starting with Rhythm Heaven Fever and check out some of the other ones if you like that one, because the whole series is great. I really hope Nintendo does another one here soon.
I hope they do too. And also, I just realized how tough it is to say Rhythm Heaven. Like I was thinking that in my head. Like that is a tough 2-word sequence there. So kudos to that. Maul, did you have anything more to add about Galaxy, or did you get it all out?
That sounds like you got it all out.
there we go. Oh no, the mute button. I'm running across 3 monitors here, so when you said that, my mouse was all the way over here typing on the Discord. So
I was like, what did it? You looked like, you know that face they make in like Punch Out when you like hit him and then you can punch him again. You had that like. Whoop?
That's where I get my emotions from, is playing that game. But anyway, I'm good. Thank you for
Okay, I'm glad we got there. Art got there. All right, Logan.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with Mario Kart Wii. This is the game I played the most on the Wii, and I played it with my brother or like with friends occasionally. And man, for the longest time, like at the start, I was always getting like 11th, my brother would get 12th, and we were always just at the very end. The only reason I was faster was because I was slightly older. But it was so chaotic. I mean, the blue shells in that game are insane. they come so fast. Eventually, we actually started getting good, but since I've transitioned to the Wii, not to the Wii, to the Switch, I've lost some of my ability to use like the motion control on the Wii. But man, that game was so fun. Those are some of the best courses in my opinion still, like with the booster course pass on 8 Deluxe. Those are some of my favorite courses to revisit.
But yeah, they're talking about the shovelware. It had a lot of shovelware. That's true. But Mario Kart
So
Wii,
bad. So
Mario Kart Wii was so much fun. We played that so much on my going away party, Maul. Remember in the place?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Played that.
For sure.
We did Rock Band too, but we did a lot of games. But we played a lot of Mario Kart Wii. That was the Mario Kart that I probably played the most of since the original when it came out. We played a lot of that.
I even had the stupid wheel.
Oh yeah,
like the wheel.
that was how I played
I
it.
didn't add anything to the game at all, but I had it.
I just don't like the motion, but I like the I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I never really got used to the nunchuck, so I always played it on wheel and got pretty good at it. But
what I can say about the Wii though, my Wii still works. It never got water damage, Trixie.
That's true.
my Wii the Wii that I played still works too. It's at my grandparents' house.
Yeah,
it's still going.
Nintendo.
It's one that my aunt and my mom both have them still at their houses, and theirs still work. Just kind of showing how prolific that system was.
As long as
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
turn Wii Connect on, apparently, that can make it too hot. But but Daria, just
So, Dance. Just Dance
Da-na-na.
2. Just Dance 2 was probably the one that I played the most with my sister. And our favorite song on there was definitely Rasputin. That one. Played a lot. I was trying to think. There were not a whole lot of like variety in the games that my sister and I had for the Wii. But I remember I was really into being outdoors at the time, so my parents got me Cabela's adventure games for that.
I used to
was
make
never
fun of
any
those
good
a
at
lot.
them because I got so stressful playing them. But but they were fun and I still have them. But yeah, we had a couple Just Dance games. And then I think I also had like one of the Harry Potter games for it.
I'm sure you did,
Seems to be a running theme.
I know.
which is great. No problem with that.
Because around all the time that these consoles were coming out, like a lot of the Harry Potter games were coming out. So it was still something I was very, very into at the time. And it's more nostalgic for me now than anything else.
So at some point we need to do a live stream of both Rock Band and Just Dance, because that would be so much fun for all of us to do that
That
live.
would be fun.
And Daria, are you still keeping up with the Just Dance series?
I have not played Just Dance in a long time. So that'd be something
Dig
I'd
back
be
out.
interested to see what
maybe-
they have.
Do you remember
In addition to
E3,
Just
those
Dance.
Just Dance people? They were like the best dancers I've ever seen. Holy moly.
Yeah.
They were
I just remember
dancing.
that. They were like so much better than what was happening on the screen. Like,
I'd say, could we also bust out the Star Wars game where you dance?
There was a Star Wars
God,
dance
What?
game.
the Connect game, yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
have
the
did it have
Kinect.
Cantina music?
Oh.
It had to.
another.
No,
also
it
was
has
Xbox
an
360
amazing Han
adventure.
Solo rap.
Yes, exactly.
The 360
Yeah.
has
so
some
bad.
great stuff.
So bad.
All right, moving on to PlayStation 3, which my PlayStation 3 also works, I should add.
There are some comments about the Wii.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Wii it
Yeah.
up.
Fenris says favorite Wii game for me would be either Castlevania Judgment or Dokapon Kingdom. The former is a really solid fighting game with Castlevania characters. The latter is Mario Party plus Final Fantasy. That sounds fun. I
What?
love Mario Party.
I need to play that. How have I not played that?
And then he also says, but I did spend a lot of time playing Super Mario Galaxy, Twilight Princess, Mad World, and Sonic and the Black Knight. So many awesome games on Wii. And then Storm Eagle says, best Wii game, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. That was a good one. It had everything at the time. The music, Subspace Emissary. It was a great story mode for the game. Had people freaking out having Sonic and Metal
Played
Gear
that a lot with
Snake.
Shadow.
Yeah, and then eventually the Wii got overwhelmed with shovelware games, riding on its initial success. Yeah, now when I go through like vintage stock or whatever looking for Wii games, there's so much shovelware.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's like I think the Wii was like the second coming of the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
Where it, right, it just broke out into the mainstream, and everyone's like, "We can do this."
We can
Surely,
put a terrible game on there. Waggle, waggle.
Yeah.
everyone else has. Why not
Everyone
us?
else has. Why not us? All right, so the PlayStation 3. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Fenris makes one last really good note. The Wii was and still is a great option for someone wanting to play GameCube games with real hardware. Yeah, that's how I'm going to eventually play F-Zero GX.
If you
because-
can find one that has certain things done to it, you can improve the output even more. There's a lot of
Ooh.
cool stuff that I can show you. Mad Little. Wait. Yeah, I'll send you a video. But there's some things you can do to the Wii to make it look even better, especially for GameCube game, and really
Nice.
everything. But in the Wii U, by the way, you can do some really awesome stuff and make Wii games look amazing. But that's for another. Sony PlayStation 3 2006. The PS3 was interesting. Like, I never ever would have thought it would have beaten out the 360 in sales. Like, when I always thought that the 360 was gonna like beat that and I was really, really surprised because the PS. This was kind of the generation that I probably played the least games though, because I was so busy with grad school and things at that point. But the PS3, picking a game was difficult for me. Jack's game is probably the best game on the system, and it's really hard for me to not pick the one that he's going to pick. But I'm going to go with Final Fantasy 13, even though it's not my favorite Final Fantasy game. But it was the game on the PS3 that I put a lot of hours in during that time period. So probably not the best game on the system. Definitely not the best Final Fantasy. One of my least favorite, probably. But I did like the visual design of it, especially some of the areas and the backgrounds and things like that. But I do have some fond memories of playing that with some friends. One of them who'd never played a Final Fantasy game. So. But anyway, Jack, pick a better game.
Yeah, no problem. So mine.
Oh
no. Now mine is Uncharted 2: Among Thieves. I love the first Uncharted game. It's a great introduction. They were trying to do something that was Indiana Jones-esque, Tomb Raider-esque, and they hit it pretty well. Nathan Drake's a great protagonist. He's got a great cast of characters to kind of help him out.
So good.
Uncharted 2 really kind of amped it up and took it to another level. I mean, all I have to say is there is a level called Drake's on a Train, and just full stop in a story. Like that's the level. Just play that one, and it's time and place. But it encapsulates the tone and humor of that game so much. You are mowing down like an entire army worth of bad guys in those games, but it's just one of those kind of not lighthearted, but just kind of like carefree romps through jungles and all kinds of ancient magical not conquest, but like caves and like lost societies kind of thing. They're awesome. Uncharted 2 is my favorite in the series though.
I just recently showed that to my son, actually. He really, really liked it. The other cool Uncharted 2 memory I have. Okay, so when I was in grad school, we had this awesome thing that happened where Steven Spielberg came and visited one of our classes. And we got to talk to him a bit. And anyway, it was a really amazing evening. But when I got to talk to him, he had talked about how much he loves video games. But about how video games hadn't quite gotten to where movies were. So I had this kind of cool conversation with him about Uncharted 2 because I just played it. And he hadn't played it, but was just about to. So anyway, whenever I think of Uncharted 2, I think about that. But Maul, another great choice here. I never forget this one being unveiled at E3. This was a really cool.
Okay. So first off, I was trying to show this to you, Break. I just looked over to my right and realized that sitting in this pile of books on my milk crate stack over here is in fact the notebook with the original BreakmanX.
Oh my god!
Comic strips in it, so they
that
do
is
still
amazing.
exist. Right there, yeah.
That is ancient,
Crazy,
though, but awesome.
It is, yeah. It's still about half empty, so I've got more room to draw in
yeah,
here.
we need more comics on BreakmanX.com.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll scan them in for you.
Oh, man, that's cool. That is cool. You still have that.
That's crisp, high resolution.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So same thing. Like a lot of this comes from E3 being just like blown away by it when it came out. We got into the tech demo for it that year, and they were just showing like how the AI, if you will, of the game system would like adapt to your moves and do different scenarios and keep you on your toes every time. But The Last of Us, at the time, that was the first thing they showed us, was just like you were fighting against like human bandits in a post-apocalyptic world. And that's all we knew, and just the tech alone of that was amazing. We loved having like the idea of having to protect Ellie, and just like everything else going on around it was really interesting and so dynamic. And then it wasn't until later, when the game actually fully released, that we got a taste of the actual story and what was really going on. They kept the clickers like a secret at E3 until the game was released later on down the line. And then we saw like the game was the full package. It was graphics, it was gameplay with storytelling. It's still a magnificent title, and I have the remastered version downstairs where it is refreshed, and you get to play through it again. And just a great series in general.
But I'm seeing Fenris here out of the corner of my eye. Talking about 3D Dot Game Heroes. I'm going to change my pick to that. I love that game, and changing to the 2D world to the 3D world on its head, and all the Zelda oneness, all the things that he said basically in the Discord. I'm going to change it to that. That's a better game, and a game I played just as much probably. But anyway, we went through Jack and Maul. Let's go to Logan.
Yeah. So, Minecraft is going to be my favorite game on the PS3. And man, Minecraft is by far the most played game in out of any game I've ever played. I've got a long history with Minecraft. And really most of it has been on PC. Like, for several years, I've just been hosting a Minecraft server off of an old PC in my basement for friends that we play on. We've restarted the world several times and just done, various states of vanilla and modded and whatever. It's been fun. But on PS3, I've got fond memories because I would occasionally go over to a friend's house and play it there. And it was just an interesting experience because I'd never played on with a regular game console before then, so I didn't know how to use a controller. It was kind of teaching me how to play that way. What a game to do that too, 'cause it's a sandbox and you really get good at mobility and using a controller that way. It's great memories.
Awesome. Nice choice. And I know you didn't play it on the original console, but we'll let you pick it because the remaster counts.
Also, The Last of Us. I love games with a really, really great story. And if I get hooked on the story, then I'm sold. I haven't played part 2 yet. I know that's a different console, but I got the Last of Us, not just the remaster, but the one that they released on on the PS5, and made my way through that, and it's fantastic, and I love the gameplay. I love the journey that it takes you on, and especially I love the way that they transferred it to the screen as well, for the series that they put out, and the changes or additions that they made with that. But yeah, even though I didn't play it on the PlayStation 3, The Last of Us will probably what I have to add to that.
I think it's the first time Darria and Maul picked the same one, so that's cool. Crossover there. Marvel and DC coming together. Logan, catch us up on the chat.
Yeah. So Fenris back referring to Wii, AVE HDMI. I've done that mod. It makes it look so sexy. Cool. What is I don't know if I haven't heard of that mod before. That's just converting it to an HDMI output, which that sounds great.
I bet he'll talk about it next week on the game show.
Yeah. And then Fenris also says, I got my PS3 really late into its life, December 2013, and I did still enjoy a good amount of games on it. Not a fan of either the Slim, so I play my games on a CHB01 model that's been serviced. And then the favorite PS3 game would be, as BreakmanX mentioned, 3D Dot Game Heroes. So much customization for your character, and you get to explore Zelda 1-esque world with Dragon Quest references.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. When I moved back to Kansas from California, that was the only game that I had with me somehow because everything else was in transit. And I played that game like hell for quite a while because it was all I had, right? We talked about that. But I loved the Zelda oneness. But anyway, continue on, Logan.
Yes. And then also for Scott the Wasp fans, dude, I love his channel.
Me too.
There is a breakout mini game in the 3D Dot Game Heroes that Scott used for his original end screen theme. That's really cool.
Oh, cool.
And then Storm Eagle says best PS3 game is Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. Hands down, best story, music. The final fight of the game is a masterclass. Also, Hideo Kojima is a mad scientist of storytelling. Cool. I don't have a lot of experience with Metal Gear games, but I need to try them, especially given last week's.
Voltar is gonna
episode.
kill you.
Yeah, I know.
Don't trust any boxes you might come by at home. If you didn't pack it yourself, you don't know what might be in there.
I might be in there.
And then Fenris says Metal Gear Rising was also a really solid PS3 title. Memes aside, it was such a fun hack and slash title with an over-the-top story.
I'd like it too. And by the way, Dean Kruger, who commented earlier, drew a really cool piece of art from that game. So check it out on Insta.
And then Storm Eagle says Rising is one of the best Metal Gear games. Rules of Nature is the first song you hear, Chef's Kiss. That sounds awesome.
Chef Kiss. By the way, I don't think we're gonna get through this tonight either, so we might have to have a part 4. But that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay because I love hearing all y'all's perspective on this, and hopefully, I really like My Life in Gaming's year-end thing where they go through all the games. So hopefully, also, a lot of the ones we're picking, people have probably played, but there might be some here or there that people haven't played, and gives them something to go with. So, with that said, let's go. Oh, Jack, did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
No,
go
right
okay.
ahead. I was just in agreement.
Okay, cool. I saw your meter jump, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't. Okay, so moving on to the 3DS. The 3DS, I remember seeing that one revealed at E3, and I remember getting to see the 3D for the first time and how cool I thought it was that you could see 3D without glasses. Pretty cool technology. And I remember actually getting one and having it update during the show, and I remember Comrade Robbins, who was a host at the time, going, Break, are you playing your 3DS? It was coming through the thing. It's like, no, I'm updating it, and so it's ready for later. But 3DS again had a lot of really great games, a lot of games that you could pick. I love the picks of Jack and Maul's, especially that they're coming with. But I'm gonna have to go with Super Mario 3D Land. I really I didn't like the new Super Mario Brothers games that much, which is, I guess, blasphemous since I like Nintendo so much. But I just always felt they were a little bit blah compared to the other Mario games. And now Super Mario Wonder, finally, we have a good 2D Mario game again. But Super Mario 3D Land, I liked significantly more than all the new Super Mario Brothers games and Mario games that were out around that time. So it's kind of, except for Mario Galaxy, it was kind of a breath of fresh air, if you will. And it ran even better on the new 3DS. It came out a little bit later. So it's a solid Mario game. Jack.
I think I agree with you. It's one of the best 3D Mario games they've had in a while. But yeah, my favorite one on the 3DS is P-Cross 3D. So I love P-Cross. I love little brain teaser games like that. I've got the first one on the original DS, but I've got P-Cross 3D on the 3DS, and I've got all the other little P-Cross games that they put out for download on the 3DS on the Nintendo store too. So the eShop has some great games, but P-Cross 3D was it, like going through and just kind of carving out. You start with a big block of cubes, and then just one by one, using the logic that they give you, you turn it into like a goalpost or a football player or something like that. And there were so many cool little puzzles in there. And I think I've worked on that game for I don't know how long, but there are still puzzles I'm unlocking. I haven't completed the entire game. I don't think I'll 100% that game, but I'm getting kind of close.
Awesome. The P-Cross was the game that got me into puzzle games, like the first P-Cross game I played, because I thought puzzle games were dumb for a while. And it's just my own loss. Like they weren't. I just could never get into them. Tetris DS eventually also came around to liking that one too. But P-Cross and Q showed it to me way back in the day, and I was like, why would I want to play this? But I ended up really liking it and still love it to this day. So great choice.
You're just biased against Q's picks.
Yeah. Well, can you blame me? I mean, some of his picks, like there's a home run every now and then, but No, I'm kidding. He's good picks. Maul.
Yeah, so one real quick thing about the glassless 3D effect, which was quite neat at the time. Do you remember when that was going to be like the big breakthrough that we are going to have on Avatar 2? Supposedly, was we are going to all have glassless 3D in the movie theater?
Yep.
What happened to that?
It was
just-
impossible.
That would be so nice because I hate putting 3D glasses over my regular glasses.
Yeah.
Well, that was the
Well,
whole
for
thing
me,
in,
my
in
issue-
Hollywood then was 3D was like going to take over everything. Then it didn't.
Yeah. My issue with 3D that also affected my enjoyment of this, I think, is that after a little bit, my eyes get used to it and I can't see the effect anymore. So it's kind of useless to me. And so I always refuse to pay extra for 3D movies because why?
Yeah.
Did nothing for me.
3D really either.
Yeah. It was neat for a few minutes and then, but anyway, the game. Yeah. So for me, my pick was Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Just it's retro gaming at its finest. It's an excellent platformer, and it's so Capcom-y, you know, like it looks like the detail on the 2D worlds is very much like out of a Mega Man game. The play style with the jumping overhead shovel attacks is very DuckTales. I don't know, it's just a solid, cool game, and really kind of brought back the days of when Capcom gave a shit about what it was doing as a company. You know, there's so many good feelings. It's just a cool game in its own right too. So for those of you who like platformers like retro games, definitely Shovel Knight is still worth playing.
Oh yeah, and that company in general is awesome. They've got a new game coming out. Is it Mia the Horror? I believe that's been in development for a bit. If not, check it out. I kickstarted. I'm on the Kickstarter. So whenever it does come out, I think it's a year late now, which is fine. I know it needs to percolate and all that. And
Everything on Kickstarter is late. That is.
Yeah, I trust them to
part
deliver.
of the
it, so
goal.
I have no problem with it. But
Yeah.
I kickstarted a while ago.
Yep. Yacht Club. I'm still amazed at how many iterations they've done just off the Shovel Knight concept, and it's a great game. And just the fact that they just keep building on it is really cool. And yeah, it's awesome.
Super fab. Logan.
Yeah.
Hit
So
us
my favorite 3DS game is going to have to be Miitopia, which you can pick up a port for the Switch now, which is how I played it, but it originated on the 3DS. And man, this game is so chaotic because it's an RPG where, almost every character in the game, it is up to you to pick a Mii to represent that character. And you can use like the Mii creator and everything, and you can also like pull Mii's from other people's collections. So you get crazy things like, you know, the big bad, the dark wizard in the save that I was playing is like Captain Crunch. And I had Thanos is like a wide sage and all kinds of crazy stuff. So you can have a lot of interesting like character crossover stuff just with Mii's, and yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to catch us up with the chat as well?
Yeah. So, Fenris says, okay, 3DS. I bought my first one used on my 18th birthday. First game I got for it was Ocarina of Time 3D, and as someone whose favorite game is Ocarina of Time, I really loved Ocarina of Time 3D. I need to play more Zelda.
Yes, you do.
I've been planning to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on my Switch at some point. I just haven't found the time yet, but I really want to. I want to get into some of the older ones too.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time is a great place to start. Link to the Past.
Cool.
Those are the two I would probably recommend.
Yeah, those are two
starting
that I hear of a lot.
And the 3DS version of Ocarina is a great way to play it if you want to play it handheld. But they went back with the graphics. They tried to match kind of not the N64, but what the art style was, like what the artist drew that they based the N64 art on. So it
That's cool.
looks closer to, I think, what the original intention was. Some
Yeah.
might say.
Then Fenris also says, it's the system that I bought the most revisions of. I got the NES version of the 3DS XL, a blue new 2DS XL, blue 2DS, and the Black Friday edition Mario New 3DS.
Wow.
And they had a lot of special editions of that console.
Yeah, Weezer Jedi used to have
Yeah.
everyone too, like all of them.
And then Spam, we've made it.
Best viewers in Smeardish.
Fenris says, nowadays I only have 2 Japanese new 3DSs, one regular, one XL. Do I regret selling my original collection? Absolutely, especially with the price of 3DSs these days. Yeah, I love a 3DS because I mean, you get one of those and you can play the original DS games too, but they cost a lot of money.
Those XLs are awesome. I have the new 3DS XL and the DS XL, and they're both really awesome.
So how much is a lot? I'm looking online because I saw that comment, and I think you can still get a workable one for like 150 or so, right?
Like down.
I mean the ones that are like the special editions are super expensive. Those are like 400, 800, depending on what the art is on them. But some of the basic just like the black and blue units aren't too bad. You know, I mean with inflation, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that is actually. Because a couple of years ago, I think it was like twice that.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, I think maybe it's come down a bit. You know, that's less than a carton of eggs, so that's fine.
You can't get anything on the eShop anymore. That's why.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Everything's really continued to go up this month and last month. Inflation.
There's a couple more. Storm Eagle says best 3DS games are Fire Emblem Awakening, great grid pace JRPG, good music, characters, and was the first Fire Emblem that you can turn off permadeath so you can enjoy the story of the game. Nice. And then Fenris says Super Smash Bros. 3DS blew my mind and everyone else's minds. I was in college when that came out, and I remember we had Smash Crew that was eager for that and the Wii U version. Yeah, I played the Wii U version. I didn't have a 3DS, so I didn't play the 3DS version, but I knew that was a big deal at the time.
Yeah, I remember getting it. My wife and I were on a cruise, and I took the 3DS with me, and I ended up playing with like a few people that were on the cruise too, using the Wi-Fi play, and I was amazed at how well it actually ran, because I figured there was no way in hell they were gonna actually get Smash to run on that 3DS, and they made it work.
The magic of Nintendo.
I love the idea of you guys being on a cruise and just like you're hanging out in the brig with some people like playing that the whole time.
Pretty cool.
It was by the pool. We were having fun.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, that sounds great. Like, I was on a crew once, and by the end of it, I was a little bit like, I was a little bit tired of being on the boat, but like having something like that to do with friends sounds great.
Yeah. Sure. Well, with that, folks, we're going to have to end part 3 and have a part 4 here in several weeks to conclude. We're almost done, though. I think everyone's alive now, so that's good. But we're getting up here into almost 10 years ago. So
I want to say some of my very favorite games of all time are coming up.
Awesome. So Darria will be featured in part 4. It will be fabulous.
Oh man, just what a reminder that there are so many game systems. We haven't even touched all of them. There's still like some other more obscure ones floating around out there too.
And that's really what the game show is. Yeah. I mean, now it's a celebration of games. So as we continue on, we'll celebrate a lot more games. These are kind of our favorite ones that we went through with all the systems. There's a lot more obscure ones that we all like as well, but these are kind of the heavy hitters. But I know we've got to head off into the sunset now, Jack. So what would you like to tell us? Something about running naked, I bet.
No, actually, I want to give a shout out to my mom. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah, happy birthday.
But you should give money to Jack so he can run naked.
Yeah, it would be nice.
And Maul, what would you like to say before we...
I'll give a shout out to running naked, if not for a good cause, just because it feels nice. Just get the
it's free.
You get the cold winter air on your jumblies. It's fine.
I did look up at the
8 degrees right now.
I looked up the forecast for this weekend. It's supposed to snow on Saturday. I'm not really prepared to run in snow, but we'll see how it goes.
Now you really want to donate, everybody. Noe underwear run. And Logan, what would you like to tell us?
Yeah, earlier you mentioned you kickstarted the game, so I thought I'd mention a game that I've actually contributed to because I want to see it happen. Dino Run 2 by Pixel Jam Studios. I played the heck out of that first Flash game. It's so good, and they're doing a lot with the sequel. So that's a fun project you should check out. And then as always, I'm making more progress on my short film, so that's coming. I'm getting close.
Rock your world.
about 20 VFX shots left to go.
Oh dang.
Nice.
And Daria, what would you like to say before we head off?
I am finally made it to the DLCs for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
You and Jackson need to talk, if I remember right.
And I'm in Atlantis now, so that's been pretty fun to kind of work my way through. I do like the mythology that they tie into a lot of that. But yeah, just pretty much working my way through that, and then I got a new SSD to add on to my PlayStation, so
Nice.
I
Actually
can
store
download
some
more
games
games. I know. So I'm downloading a lot of the ones that I've uninstalled to make room for other ones. So
Nice.
gonna revisit those soon.
All right. Well, yeah, my week, we had a really good week for the movie. Hope to be announcing some stuff about that pretty soon. So that was really great. And of course, just continuing to work on everything. Loving the game show. Can't wait for our guests coming up. Thank you to everyone for listening. And again, if you like what you see, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It would really help us out. And with that, we'll see you same time next week on the game show.